Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday morning trading room. Hang on here a second while I get to my screen, my monitor. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see the markets a little bit more active than they have been the last couple of days. Certainly a little bit more active this morning already. I don't know how many people actually hung around the entire session yesterday. It didn't get moving until about the last half hour going into the close. The NQ finally tailed off a little bit. Otherwise, it was range bound for, well, pretty much the whole session, really. Stock market looking a little bit weaker this morning, but the NASDAQ, again, doing the opposite, which is most unusual. Let's take a look here at the Falcon, and you can see the roller coaster effect. Kind of going sideways again a little bit here. Here was yesterday's dip into the close. But you can see most of the session really not worth trading. Oh, here we go with the eagle. We're printing a sell signal. Now you can see the problem is we're making higher highs relative to this high. We're making a higher low relative to this low. So right now this market is in a little bit of an uptrend. Here's the problem. Lower low. So we either need to see this break, in which case the market will still be in an uptrend, or we need to see this hold, in which case the market will now be in a downtrend. So here we're coming back with a buy signal. It's not quite a rule of 3 yet. It's kind of like a rule of 2.5. But you could set up to buy above here. This is a little ambitious. We could risk it all the way down here. But what we're looking for is we're looking for the buyers, or in this case the sellers, to come back, or the buyers to hold their ground. See, some sellers are going to be watching the trend line zone. Well, our entry is above there, so hopefully if they're serious about selling, they're going to get on this quick. This is a very early trade for this market. A lot of times I'm hesitant, at least the first 15 minutes of trading, to do anything. Just because, the market just opened up. There's a lot of activity on the floor. We're getting a late filter entry signal here out of the gate with the Falcon. You can't see the signal printing. It printed right at our median line, but we have the exact same scenario as what we were looking at. With the Falcon, however, we're getting a little bit more aggressive. We can't really risk it above this high that's offering up, well, practically the entire profit. See if I set or at least half the profit target. The signal has since turned over and it's no longer an issue. But if I dial this back and my signal prints right here, I would probably wait for the market to take out that swing point, this intermediate swing point. And I would see that as a viable compromise. All right, so here we are now again with the eagle. It looks like the highs are holding. The problem with the eagle now to the downside is, well, we've got kind of this trend line support and we don't really have a confirmation of the trend until, or that the trend is holding until we get down back below these lows. Let's see if there's something maybe in the hawk. Nope, the hawk is all yellow. The raptor being a little bit more aggressive. Okay, well the raptor took out the low. Here comes the eagle. Let's get back here to the eagle, see what's going on. All right, so our signal tripped. We're looking for a second push on the entry now. Oh, get up there a little bit. All right, not quite the second push I was looking for, but it might be the best that we're going to get. Now, with the second push on the entry, what I'm essentially looking for is for the market to trip the signal, like it did here, and then show me some activity against the signal. So this is a little bit better. Now we're getting the buyers coming in at the lows. All right, a real tug of war. But the fact that the buyers have shown themselves here makes this a good spot to sell from. If they fail here, chances are pretty good that the market, well, at the very least, it will retest the low here. Not that that gives us a lot of trade management room. But there is some room to move here to the downside if we can get below those lows. Okay, first micro-macro cross here in the hawk. We know this is a high probability signal. I might try to dial down the risk a little bit and see if I can throw a runner in on this one. Okay, and I might have to dial back the entry if this keeps retreating. The reason I've dialed down the risk and ran a deeper stop is because of all these yellow bars. All right, now we're in a macro pullback situation. Because this market has not confirmed yet which way it wants to go. You saw from the eagle that we're still kind of waffling a little bit. I was late getting to this raptor signal, but this raptor signal would have been one worth trying. And what I was going to show you here is that even though the market was wedging up like this, the raptor was breaking down out of this wedge early, hit the profit objective, which was at the lows, and then started rebounding higher again. All right, so we've got a hawk trade going on. We're working on a trend change signal here with the Falcon. So it looks like we might get opportunities across the board here this morning. Crude oil, just missed a move in crude oil while I was watching the NQ here. Oh, and you can see I got my handy dandy logic counter fixed. For those of you who had the logic counter problem, the solution is actually quite simple, and I did not know this, but when you close your NinjaTrader and it asks you whether or not you want to save your workspace, unless you've made a significant change to your workspace, the answer is no. I did not know that. Okay, so we've just hit our high probability profit target. I'm going to roll my stops to break even now on the hawk. It's a little bit more aggressive. we're getting a raptor signal here. Let's see if I can take advantage of that. Sell. I was talking to Ben about it, and the problem is if you're saving your workspace all the time, you're actually corrupting your file. And he said what NinjaTrader did is it deleted my logic counter. It corrupted the file and deleted it, and that was that. So it actually wasn't even there. Oh, fantastic. Jim nailed the YM here. Hold on one second. I'm going to pull this up. He says, let's take a look at the YM at 8:47. So that's going to be 5:47. I'm assuming your Eastern time. A yellow bar, long short. He got 20 ticks out of that. 8:47, 5:47. Yeah, so right here. All right, so if I'm reading Jim right, what he's done is his Raptor must have printed a buy signal through here. And it's the typical reversal where you get a buy signal and then it comes back. Now let me see. I believe I've highlighted one here a few days ago. Oh, you know what? I think I actually saved a picture of it because it was such a nice layout. Hold on a second here. I'm going to get that for you. Here we go. Oh, well, this is kind of similar, where in this particular instance, it came into the cloud, reversed out of the cloud, and then it fell off. So an interesting setup for the Raptor. Let's bring that back here. Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, Jim sent me, he's reminding me, he says, I sent you an email about that. Yes, you did. And I don't have that email right in front of me. But you know what? I like the setup. It's a great looking trade. Let's take a look here at, well, I missed the recent move in crude oil, as I mentioned, but those of you who were watching crude, so this was just after the open, or the North American stock market open. Crude oil actually opens back here a half hour earlier. Quick little decline down. Look at, not much of a test of the extreme, really. But that's crude oil for you. It is going to be the exception. The tip-off is perhaps that the macro pullback here failed. Well, failed, yes and no. I tend to double the profit objectives for crude. If we just go with the normal hawk scalping target, we would have hit the profit objective, and then it reversed. Big move lower. Now when you get a signal like this, and the hawk has moved a long ways like this technically our first micro-macro cross, technically a very strong signal. However, it's the type of signal that I usually want to risk back here. I'm normally looking at the last swing high or where the macro line turns over. Problem is with crude oil, can't afford it. So oftentimes what you need to do in a situation like this is you need to, well, roll the dice really. Perhaps go with dial your stop back as much as you can afford and really just take your chances. Now, depending where your stop placement was and where you were in the queue here to get your order filled, you may or may not have hit your profit target before the market tried to run and take out your stops. But fortunately, that was all before I got here. At around 6:30, we did get this macro pullback signal, which was a little bit more inviting because we could probably risk it to this old swing low, which should be support. The market fell off quite easily, found our profit objective there. And crude has been slipping lower since, but they did put the brakes on right now. We had a late filter entry signal here in the Falcon. So the late filter entry signal, of course, is when your filter goes out of sync, but your trend line does not. And this was, again, around that 6:30 mark. Another late filter entry signal here out of a few minutes after crude oil opened. And either trade easily found its profit objective. Interestingly enough, no signal on crude oil on the Eagle. Oh, thanks, Jim. James just sent another email along with that yellow bar long short. Let me see. I will get that email. Yeah, Jim says 20 ticks, I'll take that all day. This is in his email. Yeah, I bet you will. Okay, so it looks as though, and you know what, folks, I really appreciate it when you send me your screenshots and things that you found to work. All right, so here's Jim's yellow bar long short, which is a great name. I love that. So his yellow bar actually printed a buy signal, and then it reversed, and so he was shorting the reversal. So he started shorting here, took his profit down here. Nicely done. My YM, I don't think it was printing. Where are you, YM? Here you go. Yeah, my YM didn't print a buy signal through here. Jim's did. Not that that's, a real big deal. I did get a buy signal right here. And this is similar to the NQ. But still, I love Jim's signal. So if it prints a buy signal and reverses, he's all over selling that. I think that's a fantastic idea. And of course, the same would be true to the downside. If you're printing a sell signal and it immediately reverses, that's a buying opportunity. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. I'm sure we'll be able to pick up something here and there. The market is definitely a little bit more active today. Uh-oh, I haven't been paying attention to my trade here. Well, it's a good thing I'm in sim so that I can show some things, because it looks as though we had a full-on reversal here. All right, well, I'm going to get tagged here in a moment. Normally what I do when I'm in a trade like this is I pay particular attention to the breakout when we finally get it, because what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a reaction and a chance to tighten my stops. Now, you know, in hindsight, it'd be easy to say, oh yeah, I'd rolled my stop down here above this high. But typically, these are the kind of candles that you're looking for, and you're looking for commitment. All right, so there we go. We're starting to get a reversal. Oh, did they not even give me a chance? Okay, here we go. Oh dear. No, that was it right there. That was my single chance to roll this stop down. You see what I mean by commitment? This is where the sellers start coming back, and they would have came back off of these highs here. So we know this, the buyers are buying down here, the sellers are selling down here. Right, so this would be the kind of thing I'd be looking for. Bring my stop down here. The market reversed and would have stopped me out, but the nice thing is the loss would have been half. Right now I'm looking at about a $400 loss. Here it would have been 200 and change, give or take. So I've covered up here because, once again, this is where the sellers are a little bit more active. Whether or not it will be enough to recover the market, I don't know. But if they do turn it here, well, then I'm really going to start following it down very tightly. My goal now is not so much profit as to minimize the loss. All right, so if you find yourself in that kind of situation where you're needing to cut your losses, well, that's the mindset you need to take. All right, so here come you can see we've broken the trend line somewhat, so things are looking a little bit more bullish. Once again, market waffling, right? It's not respecting the lows, it's not respecting the highs. I was really hoping we weren't going to see another sideways day, but that's how it's shaping up right now. Good news is the NQ into some serious resistance here around this 44, 45 area. All right, so let's see now if we have an opportunity to do something with our stops on this trade. See here with the, when I still had the opportunity to watch it, I was a little bit more aggressive here with our hawk trade, and we got tagged at break even, but better break even than a loss, right? And the reason I rolled my stop on this one was because the trade did get to our high probability profit target. Now I had a runner in play, but we have a high probability target. I think I covered up here. something like this anyways. We hit our high probability target. I rolled the stops to break even thinking, okay, if the market goes from here, maybe I can take advantage of a runner. And then they reversed, took me out of break even. Okay, so the signal, we're getting a first micro macro cross now to the upside. Note all the yellow bars again. We just had a signal to the downside, which worked. Now we're coming back with a signal to the upside. That's not how the market should be behaving. Right? If it has settled on a direction and we had a profitable trade here lower, we should be seeing more movement lower. But here we are, we're coming and tripping a signal higher. Now, I tend to have the habit that if I have a profitable trade, like let's say I take my first trade and I sold, and that trade was a profitable trade, then I tend to be more bearish on the day. If I took a trade, my first trade, and I sold and it failed, so I took a loss, then I will tend to be more bullish on the day. So if I take my first trade and it wins, that's kind of like the market confirming, yes, we're going to go in that direction today. If I take my first trade and it fails, that's the market telling me, no, you were wrong. Let's start looking the other direction. So here we are, first micro macro cross higher. It is a buy signal, but I tell you folks, I am not all that keen on buying it right now. So how can I protect myself, right? Because the last thing you want to do is look back in your chart and say, oh, Eric, how could you have been so stupid? This market went to the moon, right? You want to be able to participate if the market takes off. Because really, we never really know until we start scrolling back here, right? And then we say, oh yeah, okay, that was a good signal. Oh yeah, that was a good signal. That doesn't help us so much right now. So what can we do to protect ourselves? Well, again, dial down the risk. Haven't really seen a test of the extreme here yet, so I'm probably going to take it above the high. I'm not going to take it at the hash mark. I'll take it above the high. I'll probably risk it, somewhere around there, about halfways. This would be making the market work hard enough to get my 50 bucks. Okay, and while that's going on, well, here we'll throw the order in. The problem with this type of scenario is you could get that one tick trend, right? It just get filled. And here's the other problem is the logistical nightmare. Ideally, we're supposed to be entering there, right? And that allows me to cover maybe down here somewhere. You can see that where I have my entry, I'm already halfway to the profit objective, right? That's the problem sometimes with these trades. And really, if it's that lopsided, sometimes maybe you just want to wait it out, say, well, I don't like the way this is looking. There might be a test of the extreme here. Maybe I'll just wait for the macro pullback, which is likely to happen, but we'll throw that in. Oh, and look at that slip. Oh, Eric, you said you were going to start using the stop market. Let's see if we can't get the ticks back that we slipped. That was nasty. If I'd used the stop limit order, I would not have been filled there. They would have gapped my entry. So rather than get slipped 2 or 3 ticks, but sometimes when you see momentum like that, the market will have a little bit more follow through to it. So we'll see. In the meantime, Michelle has a question. Yeah, 4 tick slip. James says a 4 tick slip. What's up with that? I know. That's craziness. In the NQ? Okay, Michelle's looking at the DAX hawk. Let's get to that before it changes too much. Okay, so here's the DAX hawk, and Michelle was probably looking at this macro pullback signal. Oh, no, Michelle asked, Eric, looking at the DAX hawk, do you agree we have to see more of a test of the extreme before we head on another leg up? Okay, this is what Michelle's looking at. She's looking at this macro pullback signal, and she's saying, is there a chance that this market isn't done yet? Is there a chance? Oops, no, sorry, I'm drawing this the wrong way. Michelle is looking higher, so this is what she's looking at for a test of the extreme. And please correct me if I'm wrong. So Michelle's saying, is this enough of a test of the extreme? Can I... Oh, she says the Falcon. Okay. Let's get to the Falcon then. Let's see if I can see what you're seeing. So you wrote me 656, so right about here. And Michelle is looking higher. A test of the extreme before another leg up. Okay, couple interesting things going on here. First off, we've broken a fairly substantial swing point. And when we break a swing point like that, we can normally expect 2 pushes in the direction of the breakout. So there's number 1. Now we're on the lookout for number 2. But what happens instead is the market comes down here and starts to send us a reversal signal. Right? This is our down, our trend line changes. Here comes the up, and now we would be looking for another down. We're going to pretend here for a moment with the warning dots and triangles and hash marks, and they would probably print somewhere right about there. That would confirm the trend change signal and that the market is likely to head lower. Okay, but Michelle is saying, what about a test of the extreme? Can it go higher now? Well, yes, this is definitely a test of the extreme here of these lows. Now, I know some people have difficulty identifying tests of the extreme, but all you're really looking for is a serious effort on the part of the buyers or the sellers. So let's see where the DAX has been. Okay, so the DAX, very, very choppy, and here was the last serious push lower by the sellers, and this occurred when? Oops. The 24th. So that was this morning, or my morning. So big move lower, a lot of choppiness, a move higher. This is all part of the same session still. So having seen that kind of move lower, we would expect the sellers to make a serious effort to regain the trend, even though there was a whole lot of choppiness going on. And choppiness, by the way, too, is that time period. Technically, it's referred to as accumulation or distribution, and I'm not going to get into the technicalities of it because for our purposes, it doesn't matter. But what it means that choppiness is a period where the buyers and sellers are sorting themselves out. So when you see a lot of choppy trading, even though it's very frustrating to trade choppy trading, you can be sure that once we get out of that trading range, we're going to see a little bit more follow through. And with the test of the extreme, you're just looking at, in this case, we're looking at the sellers making a reasonable effort against the buyers. And this is where the Fibonacci traders get all excited because they start pulling their fib lines all over the place. Oops, wrong tool. Oh, Andrew Pitchfork. The fib traders start pulling, oh, stop it. There's the one I want. Fib traders start pulling their trend lines or their fib levels all over the place, trying to anticipate where the market's going to turn, right? Traditionally, it turns at the 50% level. If it hits the 62% level, it's that much of a stronger reversal and so on and so forth. But whether it reverses off of the 38, the 50, the 62, or the 76 really doesn't matter. What matters is that you're looking for the sellers to really make an effort. And yes, I would say that this was a serious effort on the part of the sellers. Right? The buyers made a considerable push. They broke this swing high. Remember, this is where the sellers were really strong. Right? The sellers had this level contained back here. And they put in another effort here. The buyers broke through. The sellers allowed them to get this high. Then they pushed them back down here, back once again to where the sellers were active before. And look at this little bar here. Right? The buyers tried to force it up. Sellers knocked them down, knocked them down, knocked them down, and then the buyers came back again. So yes, this would be a test of the extreme. Right now, I would be looking short or looking for a possible sell because of the trend line color. And now we're getting a trend change to the upside. Did we get a signal out of this? Yeah, right there. Here's our trend change signal to the upside. So here's our up. Here's our down. It's only a single bar and a red dot. And then the buyers come right back. So I hope I didn't convolute that too much for you. And did they have some follow through on that one? Yeah, right to the resistance line. And here we are again. So now we're working on a late filter entry. Filters out of sync. Waiting for the signal to come back into sync. Right, so this was leg 1. This was probably leg 2. Normally we anticipate a stronger second leg, but we didn't really get it. James says he likes to look for the green hammer. This guy right here. What I like is, well, those green hammers or red hammers are often part of these double dot signals, which is technically our counter trend signal. But you know, I don't normally take those unless I can tie it in with something back here. But what I will do is I will often use it as an early warning. So if I get a bunch of double dots and then a signal print, I might be, more receptive to an early trend change signal, which we should have had right here. Where's my early trend change signal? Oh, didn't get one. But that would have been a nice one to take. See, we had the double dot, a little quick down, up, down. Here comes the trend change. I should have had a trend change signal print right here. And that would have been a quick little swing to the downside, and then it comes back with a swing to the upside. Oh, little trend change signal again. Right. This is an early trend change signal. It isn't the trend change signal that we see back here, where this whole leg changes the trend line. Then there's the counter trend move. There's the with trend move. This one all developed on the green trend line, came back, and everything came into sync right here. This is a much more aggressive posture. The nice thing about taking the early trend change signal is that you can cover it above the swing high. Oops. Right, so that if this trade did not work out, you have a well-defined area where to pull the stops or where to pull the trade. But the DAX too getting kind of constipated. I didn't get a chance to point out soybeans to you this morning, but we did have a very nice signal in soybeans here. It fired across the board on the Eagle, the Hawk, and the Falcon. Actually, the Falcon signal came pre-open. We had our trend change signal here, so the trend line goes green to red. Here's the first signal where everything is in sync. You can't see it very well because it's falling on that median line, but nice little bit of the move lower there. Let's bring in the Hawk, where right out of the open we had this 3-arrow consolidation. And soybeans plodding lower. Huh. James is saying 1,000 put contracts are being sold on the Qs. That's the NASDAQ, of course. Okay, we might have a Here's the DAX once again, and we're getting a buy signal here on the, oh, doggone it. Guys, I was trying to make an example of this. Getting a buy signal here on our eagle. Now, normally I tend to use the ATR line as a filter there. And with the eagle, I like to try to cover to the hard edge. Oh, the DAX is one of those markets. Might not let me have it. So can I cover it? Oh, just. All right, so I'm going to have to compromise. Oh, no, they won't even give me that. What's up with that? Where in the world do I have to cover this thing to get this trade on? Well, that is a lot tighter than I normally like to see it. But what was nice to see here is the swing points, right? We're swinging higher. We're making higher highs. Everything is suggesting that this trend is intact. But of course, I have very little staying power in a market like this. All right, let's see what's up with crude oil. And crude oil, well, our hawk on crude oil looking a little bit weak. Our Falcon waffling somewhat, but we are getting it's sort of an early trend change signal here. The lower highs, the lows are holding, but if we shoot a trend line across the bottom here, you can see that we're reacting to, well, to this buying support here at the trend line. So we have a lower high, the lows are holding. I would, if I'm going to short this, I'm going to short it below this low right here so I can get on the other side of the trend line. It's only offering up a few ticks, and that would be a higher probability trade. Again, with crude oil, I've doubled the profit objective, maybe given the way that they're trading right now. We will just go for our high probability profit target, which if crude breaks that low, should be able to do it in a heartbeat. All right, and if this bar forms green, well then I'm going to scrub the trade. And here, let me bring over the hawk. So the nice thing about having the different tools is you get different information. See the hawk? See all these yellow bars here? Recognize that from yesterday? That means we're stuck. We are stuck between here and here. And so long as we're within that trading range, it's going to be tough. Now we do have a red bar buy here, which, let's see if we're going to hit our profit target. So crude just kissing our high probability target on that red bar buy. The red bar buy, of course, is one of these signals that which we can sell. Right? It's our counter trend signal. You can take it the other way. But that bar has formed. I think it's time to cancel that sell order on the Falcon. Okay, oh man, these guys are always starting to move just as I'm going to point something out to you. Okay, well the NQ into some pretty nasty resistance here at the highs. See if we don't get a double dot signal out of that. We do have our with trend buy signal here now on the Eagle. Let's see, how deep can I cover that? Can I cover that back to the hard edge? Ooh, I can. Actually, that one would even allow me to this price level here at around 44.54. That's right in the heart of where yesterday's trading took place. I guess the primary resistance is actually around 44.50. Close enough. This line, I bet you, if I extended this line here, would run right through the heart of yesterday's activity. Yeah, look at that. Right through the thick of it. Jim says he's getting a little bit more bearish on the NQ. I'm with you on that. They're very lost at the moment. We do have a selling opportunity here on the Eagle in the soybean market. Nice little confirmation of the lows. Ability to cover it above the highs. Not too heavy on the risk side. Soybeans, again, one of these markets that when they go, they can make substantial moves, and they do tend to stick to a direction once they settle on one. So a lot of times I will stretch that profit target in the soybean trades. Okay, here comes crude oil again. Trying to swing back at these lows down here, coming back with a warning dot. Don't have the signal just yet. Still making lower highs. That's encouraging. The hawk still all yellow. That is not encouraging. All right, so here was the failure of that red bar sell. It looks like they're pushing toward the lows now, and we are getting that opportunity now on the Falcon. We have the complete signal and even a chance at a second push on that entry. Tough signal because of these lows here, but like I say, we have the chance on the second push on that entry now, so that hopefully will keep us on the right side of this trade. If crude reverses off of here, we're going to see it run back to the recent swing high around 47.70, and that's also going to be the hard edge on the Eagle. This we can close out this order for now. Ooh, James is all over the Raptor here on the NQ. He says he sold 44.52 and a quarter. And his stops are just above here. So James getting in a little bit early. Nice little move so far to the downside. Okay, we can cancel that crude oil sell on the Falcon because it's going the other way. It looks like we might see that push to 47.70 now. Waiting for my trend change signal here on the Falcon and a possible red bar buy on the Hawk. Yeah, interesting observation here from James. He's saying about the yellow bars. Whenever you get a yellow bar signal, you should almost, if you have an established trend, you should almost always be looking the opposite direction. That was certainly true right here. This signal did have some follow through to it though. Crude waffling there. managed to get as high as 47.65 or 63, sorry, and then started backing off. Here comes the NQ, not quite a late filter entry signal, but kind of close. Now, technically, with the late filter entry signal, this trend line should not go out of sync at all, but sometimes if it only goes out of sync for a bar, it's almost as effective as a late filter entry. Chances are that this bar right here only got a tick too low. That was low enough to switch that trend line over. But because it's not as sound a signal as a late filter entry signal, probably one that you may want to dial down the risk a little bit. These highs right here that we were watching, 44.54, substantial. But if we tick on the other side of those, I think we got a little bit of room to move. James says the YM gave him a yellow bar signal. Well, here's my YM on the Raptor. Somehow our data providers are just a little bit out of sync with each other. James is getting a yellow bar signal, unless this is the one he's referring to back here. But I don't think so. He had a yellow bar short and it's now rising. That's what he wrote. Okay, the Raptor coming in with a buy signal also. This is a with trend signal. Same problem as before. We're looking at the interference from these highs here. So let's see. I missed the initial signal because I was pointing this out, but let's see if we can't get a second push on this one. And this would be the kind of thing that you just want to go in with a onesie. You don't want to get too crazy on, given the way the market is trading today. Yeah, James says we're right into yesterday's highs. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit. Okay, so the bars are forming against this. I'm going to cancel this signal here for the moment. All right, here comes the eagle. We're getting a warning dot. And even here on the NQ, technically, this is our first micro macro cross signal right here. Can I cover it down there? Yes, I can. Now, I should point out that none of these are giving me a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's just the way they are. I'm really watching the crude oil market. That's the one that is giving me the most hope at the moment. James here with the play-by-play. He says the advanced decline's a little lopsided today. It's about a negative 300, almost negative 400, which is actually kind of bearish. But he says the DAX is pretty strong. So again, a little bit of a mixed bag of signals that we're getting. So there's the first micro-macro cross signal. We'll see how that plays out, if it plays out. Okay, crude oil back up to 44.70, or sorry, 47.70. And starting to emerge out of this sideways range that we had seen it in. So we should see it retest that zone now. And when it does that, we should get a first micro-macro cross signal on the hawk, and we should get a trend change signal here on the falcon. So our trend line has changed. Now we're looking for this retest of this old resistance area, which should now act as support. That should give the market a chance to give us a couple of red bars, come back, give us a buy signal, and we're off to the races. That's the plan right now anyway. Oh goody, more sideways trading. catching a trend signal now on the Eagle. Same problem as before, where it's, oh, come back here. Considerable resistance up here. All right, looks like we're getting a good opportunity at a second push on that entry. Oh, and you scoundrels. Almost got to the high probability profit target, just a couple of ticks shy. Don't you dare. Uh-oh. All right, let's see now. If this yellow bar turns, I'm going to get much more aggressive with my stop. Excuse me, if it doesn't roll automatically. If it doesn't roll up automatically, I will roll it below this low. Come on now, get up there. The advanced decline still bearish. And Jim says the DAX is still pretty strong. So once again, it seems as though the stock market and the NASDAQ at odds with each other. All right, so did that yellow bar form? Yes, it did. I don't feel much like allowing it to reverse on me much more than that. So I'm now going to go with the bar high-low strategy. This is really the last chance for the buyers in my book. If they can't pull it out of the bag from here, then it's probably going to reverse on itself. And the longer this trade takes to get going, the less confidence I have in this Eagle trade. And with our Falcon, I'm looking for this bar to finish green, after which I will also become more aggressive with my stops on this one. Crude oil finally starting to give us that retest, and we're getting our scalp signals. This is our first micro-macro cross signal now. And let's see, can I cover it all the way down there? Oh, I can. So just looking for a first micro-macro cross here on the crude oil market, but I would prefer to see it get down here to this trend line, or sorry, this support line, the old highs. That would be a great place for it to bounce off of. So right now this, actually I should throw a stop limit on this one also. Even though this is a viable signal right now, it is not as strong a signal as it could be. So we'll wait for that to finish. Here come the sellers. You see how they're starting to reject this high here. Let's see whether or not it can hold on to this support. We have made a higher high. I'm hoping we're going to make a little bit of a higher high before we see an attempt at a higher swing low. Okay, here's crude on the hawk. You can see a slightly better first micro macro cross setup. Oh, come back here. All right, so we'll put that on the sidelines for now. Notice how this first micro macro cross it tripped just as we encountered this support area here. So this may still work itself into a macro pullback. That's entirely possible. But so far, this is what we were looking for. Come back, retest, and now we should see a little bit of a rally from there. Okay, so I'm going to go now with the bar high-low strategy. Now that we've this bar showed the selling effort, buyers came back, sellers beating up on them again. This whole 44, 54, 54, 50 area, just brutal. Come on, sellers, pack it up. Beat it. All right, I was just about to show you here we're near our high probability profit target. So that would be a good time to get this trade to break even. But it went ahead and hit our profit objective anyway. I love it when that happens. Okay, and probably time to bring my stop up at least below this swing point here. So here too, I'm going to go with the more aggressive bar high-low strategy. It's nice to see things loosening up a little bit. Crude oil also just about to kiss our profit target. Good time to get a little bit more aggressive with our stops here. At the very least, you want them below this swing low. And once again, the bar high low, it is one of our more aggressive stop strategies. Get up there. Get up there. And there's never anything wrong with punching out of a trade. Like if you're watching your trade and it seems to be waffling too much and you're just not feeling good about it and you're showing, $80 or whatever, take the money. There's never anything wrong with taking the money. Okay, the Falcon coming back now on crude oil with a buy signal. Oh, I meant to put a stop limit on that. Here's that crude oil Falcon trade. Because crude oil is not beyond slipping us. So let's see if I can get a stop limit in there instead. There we go, just one tick above there. Oh, and yet another first micro macro cross. How often do we see that? And we get several first micro macro cross within the same trend. Not all that often. And I'm just looking at this because it is a high probability trade. Or high probability signal, I should say. Yesterday's highs, I think, were 44.60, so I don't know, be interesting to see whether or not the NQ can challenge the highs from yesterday. All right, I've had enough of this one. I'm going to take that trade to break even. We're about halfway to our profit objective. And it might well still get there, but I don't know, the lack of momentum. And we picked up another crude oil trade here on our Falcon signal. It looks like it's making some headway, or it was a moment ago. Here they go, they're unwinding their positions now. Is anybody else having audio issues? Olu was saying he's having some issues with his audio, but he doesn't think it's from his end. Yeah, okay, thanks. A few folks are saying that their audio is still good. What a mess. They're going to come back down to 44.50 and then park it there for a little while. If it folds around 44.50, or I guess more specifically, $44.49.5, somewhere around this area here. Might see a little bit of a run lower. Well, a little better than yesterday, but not that much. Still a lot of sideways choppiness, a lot of scared traders, I guess. Slow traders. Ay, ay, ay. All right, here they come. Come on, buyers. Let's go. Crude trying to make a macro pullback. Working on, we've got our warning dot right back to this old support area that we were watching. Keep an eye on that. See if that comes back with a macro pullback signal or not. Well, I guess here's a note for the trading journal. I got a little too quick with my stop. Had I held out a little bit more, although I did take it out at break even, so it's better than incurring a loss. Not quite as nice as getting a profit though. Welcome to the wonderful world of trading. Okay, come on NQ, just give me one more bar. Looking here at our Eagle trade, which we've been nursing. Stops are at a good point. This bar right here with this long tail to it. If the market reverses and takes out this tail, then that's probably a good time to leave. I would very much like to get this trade to break even. I need one more bar to do that. Or if I even get up here something close to 44.60, I will probably roll my stop to break even. So this is the resistance we're contending with right now. Crude oil moving now into, moving into yellow bars. This macro pullback falling through our old resistance, which should have given the market some support. Really did not want to see more yellow bars. But if this does reverse and head higher, we may get a macro pullback out of this yet, or maybe another first micro-macro cross signal. All right, you guys, we're going to get close to closing up the room here. If you are trading this afternoon, well, it looks like crude oil a little bit more on the bullish side, especially since we've taken out that last swing high. Here's crude oil. So we've taken out this swing high. Remember, we can expect two moves in the direction of the breakout. So we've only had one so far. I'm still looking for that second move. Well, might be getting it right now. This red bar buy, that might be an opportunity. We'll see how that builds. Soybeans, they've gotten a little bit flatter, still mildly bearish. That's kind of the bigger trend, although they did have a little hiccup higher. The stock market, flip a coin. No real direction in the stock market for yet, what is this now, 4 or 5 days? Oh my gosh, give me a break already. If I had to choose, well, you know what? I would have bet dollars to donuts that stock index was heading lower today. But so far they haven't done that. So far they've still been rallying, and if they get above 44.60, I see no reason why we can't see 44.65, maybe even 44.70. This is the next big stumbling block right here, though. This little swing high right here, 44.59. That's on the NQ, the YM, and the E-mini, both looking a little bit stronger at the moment also. So caution is the word du jour. All right, you guys, we're going to button up the room. Remember, tomorrow is the Wednesday open house, so we meet in the other trading room. And